guys, Ryan Young, Kama Jiu-Jitsu. Hope all is well. And I just got my issue of Black Belt magazine. Grandmaster Rickson Gracie, not master, Grandmaster. You can tell by the belt there, right? Red belt. And I'm glad he's wearing the red belt, because if anybody is a true Grandmaster, it's Grandmaster Rickson. And I know that he's kind of up in arms about it. You and I have spoken about this before. Remember, I did the video when he was first awarded the belt and he had trepidations about whether he should wear it or not, and was saying he was going to put it away until year 45 elapses, which is probably in about another 3-4 years, at which point he'd then put the red belt on. And Grandmaster Horian saying, you're a Grandmaster, you do whatever you want to do. In this case, it looks like Rickson is doing what he wants to do, which is his right. And the fact that people were questioning him or saying he shouldn't have gotten the belt, bullshit, in my opinion, about that. I don't care who it was. I mean, to me, it's bullshit. Why? Because the standards by which Grandmaster Rickson was given his red belt and his 9th degree was based on his father's and Carlos Gracie Sr.'s criteria. All the people were saying that he doesn't deserve it yet, needs to wait till year 45 or year 50 or whatever the case may be, is according to the IBJJF, which is run by Grandmaster Rickson's cousin, Carlos Gracie Jr. Rickson has had his differences with the IBJJF, and I'm sure the IBJJF has their differences with him. So as a result, Rickson has created his own standard, which is also different from Grandmaster Elio's standard, which is where the 45 came from. So what's happening here is that there's a bunch of confusion as to when degrees on black belts come. I'm not here to clear it all up for you, because it's not up to me. If it were up to me, I could clear it all up and I'd say this is it. But really, there is no one person anymore in Jiu-Jitsu who is looked at as the patriarch of Jiu-Jitsu. You've got factions now, factions that are run by different people. So you've got the people that follow the original Grandmaster Elio Gracie and Grandmaster Carlos Gracie Sr. standards. Namely, they're Elio's sons, or most of his sons. You got Helson, Royce, although Royce has done his own thing as well, in that he's gotten rid of the red bar and gone with the blue bar instead. So a black belt with a blue bar. And I guess that's a tribute to his father, who wore the navy blue belt whenever he was not in a picture. So when he was in a picture, he would wear his Grandmaster 10th degree red belt. But from what I understand, every other time he would just wear the navy blue belt, because for him, prior to 1967, that was his belt. So I guess from maybe the late 20s all the way to 1967, he and Grandmaster Carlos just wore the navy blue belt. They didn't wear the black belt or the red belt. And Royce is trying to, I guess, go back to as close to the standards that his father originally set in wearing a navy blue belt. And I think the Valente brothers are on board with him on that as well. I think I saw a video. I haven't seen a video of Royce lately, but I've seen one of the Valente brothers, and they're both wearing navy blue belts. They're not even wearing black belts. Not the black belt with the blue bar. They're wearing navy blue belts. Given the disparity in what the standards are, now that the original patriarchs of the art are now gone, I guess it makes sense. The IBJJF, which has a huge following, is going to have their own standards. You have Helson and Horian Gracie, who still follow their father's standards. They have a large following as well. And then you have the JJGF, which is Rickson, that's starting to develop a following. So there's no surprise that there's a big confusion as far as what people are supposed to be degreed at. So I just saw a post on Facebook by a well-respected black belt professor, who was saying that how people he knows have gotten black belts and their rank has surpassed them, or him rather. I think he went a little bit further in saying that they don't match up to him. Now that's debatable. You never know how good a professor is until you spend time with him. And just because you're a 6th degree black belt doesn't make you better than a 2nd degree black belt, in my opinion. Not better as far as who can beat who, right? It comes down to, at black belt, and once you become a professor and you earn degrees, it comes down to what your contribution to the art is. And in that way, people can measure themselves a little differently. You could say on the one hand how many black belts somebody's produced versus another, but if one of them who produces a lot of black belts has very lax criteria, that still doesn't make him a better professor than the one who only has one black belt that he's awarded. but has hugely difficult criteria. I kind of wanted to address this because of that particular professor in his frustration of seeing other black belts getting promoted above him. So here's a situation with Kama Jiu-Jitsu. Professor Dave Kama got his black belt in 1995. He's one of the dirty dozen. But his current rank under Grandmaster Rickson is a 4th degree. Wait, 1995, that's 23 years. If you look at, I don't know, what's the IBJJF standard? What would he be? A 5th, 6th degree? Maybe a 5th degree, I'm not sure. Under the JJGF standard, he's around the 5th degree. But I remember seeing a video once of Jean-Jacques Machado talking about getting his coral belt from Grandmaster Rickson. And in that conversation, he recalls Grandmaster Rickson telling him that the qualification for coral belt was 25 years. However, if I remember right, on the JJGF timeline, and now we're getting into kind of, and I don't know this for sure because I don't have it in my head, but I know somehow, and so if it's 25 years to coral belt, that would mean 10 years for your, as a coral belt to your 8th degree, that would be 35 years, and 10 more years to your 9th degree, which would take you to 45 years. So that's how we get the 45 years to a red belt 9th degree. I think I've also heard it different in that it goes like this. So your 1st degree comes after 3 years. Your 2nd degree comes after 6 years. Your 3rd degree comes at year 9, so 3 years each. Your 4th degree comes at year 14, so that's a 5-year degree. Your 5th degree comes at 19 years, another 5-year degree. Your 6th degree comes at 24 years, which is so 24 years, that would be your 6th degree. That's three degrees at 5. And then you add 7 years to get your 7th degree, or is it 6 years? So that take you 31. I think it's 31 years as a teaching black belt to get to your coral belt at 7th degree. And then 7 years per stripe for your 8th and 9th. So that would take you to 45 years to get your 9th degree red belt. There are I just mapped 2 different ways that I can conceive of one getting to coral and then to red. Confusing, isn't it? Yeah, you're not kidding. And I know the IBJJF has their own criteria. Now, if you look at Rickson Gracie and Rickson Gracie, who follow their father's general standard, because Elu Gracie is also on video saying, I'll give you a degree when I feel like giving you one, which I know he's done that with Rickson as well. I think he gave Rickson one of his degrees after he beat Zulu the first time. The traditional standard is this: 2 years, 4 years, 6 years, 8 years, 10 years, 12 years. So 2 years per degree through your 6th degree. To get to 7th degree, it's 8 more years. So that would be, to get to 7th, you're a 20-year black belt. 7th degree is your master rank and your coral belt. 10 more years to 30 gets you your 8th degree. Another 10 years gets you to 9th degree and your red belt. So that's 40 years. So that's where Rickson was getting awarded his red belt at year 40. So that would be, I think, age 58, because he got his black belt at age 18. Grandmaster Rickson, his brother right above him, got his at age 62 because he got his black belt at age 22. And then I would also assume that Grandmaster Rickson got his at 40 years, which was 40 years of teaching black belt, and I would assume it was age 58. 58 or 59. I'm not exactly sure on that. Being that you have at least these 3 major different standards, and they're all different, you're going to have people that are black belt that are getting their degrees at different times. So to be frustrated by it, you really have to look at your master and ask your master, what standard are you going by, and either accept it or not. If you're going to accept it, then you really should not even be entertaining the thought of being frustrated, because other people who you know are on a different standard are getting ranked above you. So here's an example. Dave Kama, 1995 black belt, 23 years as a black belt, 4th degree, because that's what Rickson gives him. And you are what your master awards you to be. There is a good friend of mine who is a Rickson black belt, who's a 5th degree black belt. So he outranks Dave, but he hasn't been a black belt as long as Dave. He's not a Dirty Dozen member. So that would mean that he's been a black belt roughly 10 years. So here we are in 2018, which means that he got his black belt roughly 2008. So he got his 13 years after Dave Kama, but now he outranks Dave by a degree. Is Dave bent out of shape about it? No. Why would he be? Rickson is his master, and Rickson tells him when his rank is gonna be. If Grandmaster Rickson were to tell Professor Dave, hey, look at all the new stuff I'm showing you, which you don't know how to do, which you know are new concepts to you. You know, Dave, I've decided that being that you don't know this stuff, you're now a white belt. Guess what? Dave is gonna put a white belt on. It doesn't matter that he's a Dirty Dozen member. If the system is different now, then his belt's gonna be different, and he accepts it. And like I've said in other videos, I'm the same way. If Dave tells me that based on all the new stuff that he's going over with me, every time I see him, he was just here, in fact, he just left yesterday. If he's going over new stuff with me that I don't know, he has every right as my professor to tell me, your rank is gonna be different now going forward. And so is the rank of everybody else as well. To that friend of mine who got frustrated, don't be, or at least try not to be. Just worry about what you're gonna do and what you're doing. You're a great professor, you're a very well-known professor. Now, if other people outrank you, it's not because they're better than you, or they're not better than you either. I mean, because they could be better than you. It's just that the criteria for which they're being ranked on is different from the criteria that you're being ranked on. To kind of sum everything up here, like it is for the lower belts, and I tell everybody, do not worry about your rank. Your rank is determined by your professor. Kama Jiu-Jitsu students know that their rank is determined by one of us professors, if not all of us professors. It's not determined by them. So the same thing I can say about being a black belt professor myself. I don't worry about my rank. My rank is my rank. Whatever my grandmaster or my master tells me my rank is, that's my rank. And it could be higher than I think, it could be lower than I think. But really, it is what it is, and there's nothing you can do about it unless you want to go and start your own association, your own affiliation, or whatever, and then put yourself at the top rank, right? Isn't that what the Gracies did? The Gracies broke off from Maeda, did their own thing, created their own system. And naturally, Carlos and Eli were at the top of the rank. Like Grandmaster Horian told Rickson, once you're a Grandmaster, you do what you want. Rickson is doing what he wants, and everybody who creates their own association will do what they want. That's all I got for you today. I want to thank you guys for subscribing and thank you for sharing. And mostly, thank you for the comments below. Oh, and one more thing. Probably in this first quarter of 2018, Professor Dave will be putting together an instructional series, but it's going to be on a subscription basis. It's going to be constantly updated. It's going to be, it's not something that it's just like a DVD set and you buy it and done with it. It's something that's going to be constantly added to and tweaked and updated, which is the most important thing, because a lot of times, you know, I've done some videos in the past that have shown some techniques, and based on what we do today, they're incomplete. And being that they're already out there, they're out there. I mean, they're several years old now, but we do things a little bit different from what those, I mean, those techniques are still good, they're still valid, but as Dave and as Rickson and as our members, we've been kind of tweaking things here and there. We found better ways. So with the site that Dave will be putting up, like I said, it's going to be a subscription type site. It'll be much more updated as far as our techniques goes. So stay tuned for that. Anyway, take care. Happy training. Bye-bye.